I'd like to welcome all of you to the special room that will be covering international relations and international development. As I said, let me see if I can figure out how to move this on. Yes. We will be covering the Certificate in International Development as well as the Certificate in International Relations, which is our first year course and the foundation courses that we offer. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. And please do ask questions whenever you wish. And also, we'll be looking at the Diploma in International Relations, as well as discussing the Advanced Diploma in International Studies and International Development as well. The academics that teach on our courses are, first of all, I have an overview of all of the courses and design the courses with those who actually teach them. And we adjust them and update them probably more than almost any other field and discipline at the Institute because, of course, things change all the time as far as world affairs and current events. So these are consistently updated every year, take up some new certainly to address what may have happened in the world, but also to address the different kinds of theories and frameworks that we can try to understand new events in, which may make more sense depending on what has just happened over the last year and what we can see as the trend lines going forward. The Certificate in International Relations is partially taught by Dr. Tanvi Pate as our panel tutor. Actually, I should say that Dr. Tanvi Pate, sorry, excuse me. And she also teaches on an online course that we run on geopolitics and international studies. So we provide that course in two very different formats. It's a purely online course. The certificate, on the other hand, is partially taught through online and partially taught through recorded lectures and other materials. So it's got more of a live component than the online, purely online course on geopolitics. Second of all, there's Dr. Victoria Stewart-Jolly, who teaches on the diploma. She used to teach the certificate, but now teaches on the diploma. So she's very well experienced in this field and in the teaching areas, and many of her students have moved on through the courses. And our student representative today, who I'll introduce more formally later on in the presentation, has done just that. So this is one of the things that we encourage our students to consider is moving through the courses and on into more and more advanced training and experience and personal research as part of the process. For the advanced diploma, that is a much more self-directed course that involves personal research into topics of one's own choosing and very directed research. And therefore, it is something that involves supervision. And I normally take that if it is a purely international relations course, but we do have a number of other tutors and panel tutors available that will help those that choose areas that are more like in the field of international development. And at the moment, I do not have on this slide the panel tutor for international development, as we are going through the process of bringing on a new panel tutor specific to international development who can address the specifics of that course. But at the moment, there's also team teaching that will be involved, and that is very important in providing the rounded nature of teaching that we try to offer our students. Now, let me go into this a little bit more carefully and in more detail. So both the undergraduate certificate in development and the undergraduate certificate in international relations are level 4 courses. And that means that they are more or less a course that provides a important introduction to the entire field, looks at a number of different topics, provides foundational readings, and we likewise are open to having anyone enroll on these courses. So you don't have to have prior knowledge about either international relations or international development. And if this is because you are thinking of pursuing that area in developing a whole application for undergraduate work, or if you've already gone through undergraduate work in a different area and you now find that international relations is something that is really interesting, or international development is something you'd like to start a new career in, these courses are designed to provide that introduction, confirm that it's something that you would like to do, and give you the tools to then move into either further study at the diploma level, or in fact to jump forward and possibly take a master's if that's where your educational background is, or if you're into just changing job direction, to give you a better handle on what kinds of things jobs in that career area will be demanding. The certificate and diploma are both courses that offer 60 higher education credits. So a full-time BA is 120 credits and in this area. And so together, a certificate and a diploma, if you take both, one after the other, will actually constitute the full year of a BA in this discipline. So let me move on to the undergraduate diploma in international relations. This is a level 5, and so it is taught at second year level. It's more advanced, it's more demanding. The assessments are designed to tap into a deeper understanding of the main aspects of the subject. We also cover a broader range of theory, of frameworks such as power sharing, realpolitik, the security dilemma, things that we do not really cover in the first year because we don't want to be confusing. We want you to get a really good basis in this subject if you're taking a certificate. Assuming that you have that basis, then we move on into these other areas that broaden out the topic and make it really exciting to understand what is happening in the world, how to understand current events, give them context, what the history of these kinds of conflicts or these kinds of peace arrangements are. So that's what the diploma does. It really provides a growth area that builds on the foundation of the certificate. The diploma, therefore, is not open access. We do look at having students that come either with having taken the certificate as a qualification or have an international equivalent to that course in a relevant field, or indeed have had professional experience that shows that they have a good idea of what the course in international relations is going to cover and have a background of some kind in the topic. For those willing to go on because they wish to pursue a broader writing project that really benefits from directed research, we offer the advanced diploma. And this actually is offered as two distinct separate years. There's the first year, which is theory and practice, which is a somewhat smaller writing project, but nonetheless, we ask you to write a proposal. We look at the proposal, discuss it with you, assign a supervisor to you, and then together we go through as you develop the research and you have writing guidance that you benefit from, and you begin to write a significant piece of research writing that taps into a very specific area in the field. And the second year just expands that. The writing project is longer. There are further training that is offered to help you delve more fully into this. And this often helps when preparing for an application in the master's. And we offer through other parts of the university, particularly through the Department of Politics and International Relations at Cambridge, a master's that's both an MPhil or a Master of Studies for mid-career professionals, or it is something that helps application at other universities at that level. So these are the three general areas of progressive learning that we offer in this area. And if, for example, you are interested in international development and you want to take that further, then the advanced diploma is a really good option for you. Are there yet any questions that anybody has? And if you do, please just wave your hand and kick in. I can't see everybody, so I'm just going to encourage one of you to speak up if you have any questions as we go forward. All right, moving on to the next screen. What do we teach? Basically, we explore the world. The world is changing every day, as we know in the media that we read and see all the time. It comes over our phones. It comes through the newspapers, online. It comes through all the different portals such as Facebook and YouTube. So we look at the whole range. In each one of our courses, we have specific areas that we look at as part of different units, and then we often integrate the different areas so that we can see them in context. So, as I have on this screen, we look at great power politics and we look at the state, which are the two building blocks of understanding how the world actually works. Um, the great power politics includes the international organizations, so the UN, as well as all its different associated associations. The WHO is one that all of us ran into, the World Health Organization, during COVID-19, and it suddenly took center stage, but it has actually been operating for many decades, and it's thanks to the WHO that our world no longer has smallpox, because it was significant in wiping out that particular terrible disease all over the world. And it is still extremely engaged, for example, in controlling very major diseases such as malaria and polio. Great power politics and the state also has a third dimension to it in terms of major events that take place, and that is the action of non-state actors. So the most obvious one is are terrorists, extremists, if you will. They cover all different political stripes from far left to far right, and they appear all over the world and at different times and very unexpectedly, and often with using alternative weapons and alternative means. So these are things that we look in depth to understand. For example, in the Middle East, right today, what is the difference between the Houthis and Hezbollah and Hamas? Because these are all different organizations, and each of them are in different countries. Do they share something? How are they different? Where do they get their money from? And how are they encountering the great powers such as the United States or the powers of Europe? We look at this in depth. We also look at conflict more generally, because that is the heart of what international relations and international development are really all about. International relations looks at state to state relations. International development looks at the effect of state-to-state conflict and peacemaking on the ground. And so these are two different levels within the hierarchy of the international. So today we have conflict, of course, going on in the Ukraine. We have conflict going on throughout the Middle East and well into Africa. We have issues between the United States and China, for example, and we have concerns between China's relationship with Taiwan. So we're talking about overall. And in fact, since I've even put together this screen, which was not very, very long ago, there has been quite a bit of tension arising between Pakistan and India. And we also see some peace being drawn up between states in Africa, particularly to do with Rwanda. So here we see a constantly moving mosaic of relationships and war and peace. And that's why, as I say, we are constantly updating these courses. We also look at alliances and trade regimes. So we have the Chinese Belt and Road, which is a global system-wide plan that it is setting up very much based on trade by China. We have organizations such as NATO, which are very involved today in the war in Ukraine and as very much part of what's called an Atlanticist relationship between the United States and the states of Europe. There is, of course, always the EU, which is both political and economic, and a very new one on the scene, changing even as we look at it, is the BRICS, which is an anagram for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But obviously, since even the BRICS came up, and it's been around for about 10 years, states such as Russia and China are resurgent. They're taking larger and larger roles. And what we're seeing is that our world is in the process of undergoing a metamorphosis. It used to be a bipolar world during the post-Cold War. Then it was a unipolar world when the United States became the one big power. And today we're seeing it's becoming a multipolar world. And that's very much because both Russia and China are now becoming major players. And I would argue the global South is also becoming a major player in the world. So we're seeing a change in dynamic, and the mosaic is shifting in terms of its set of relationships. Underpinning much of this is always ideas about ideology and political frameworks. So the United States and China and Russia couldn't be more different in terms of the ideologies they follow and then how that translates into both their relationships with those on the ground and how they are supporting or not supporting international development and the rescue of people that are poor, which concerns so much of the world, the kinds of aid that they are giving, but also it very much determines how their own uh, societies are organized and hence how they interpret threat, um, intervention, and alliances. So we see that democracy and populism are, for example, constantly issues that we discuss. They're part of the way we ask you to do research. And as new ideas and issues arise, that comes up in terms of what kinds of assessments that we ask you about. And of course, if you're looking at international development, very importantly is the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So we look at those in depth in the course on international development. We look at migration across all of these courses, but particularly in international development, because people are migrating both because they're looking for better jobs, they're looking to escape conflict, but these days they're also very much looking to move due to climate change. So there's a whole section on climate change because of that. And we also look at international crime, a rising problem that is translating into maritime crime, money laundering, particularly in supporting terrorism, for example, and also a lot of banking crime and fraudulence. So these are exciting topics, and we look at these in depth. So how do we teach? We have lecturers from throughout the university that come as guest lecturers because this is a topic that covers the world. So we do not try to hire somebody that just talks about all of these topics in one basket. We have guest lecturers that come in, they're specialists in their field. They will look at different regions, so the Middle East or China or Latin America, for example, but they also very much are specialists in different disciplines, so in economics or trade or the UN, etc. So you get different voices, you get different perspectives, and that's really, really important to this course. We also find that this, not surprisingly, is a course that is populated by a wide range of different nationalities. We teach the world even as the world learns with us. So your fellow students will be from all over the world. And the great thing is that this helps to create debate and discussion from very, very different perspectives. And this in itself adds dimension to understanding international relations and international development. They have different political views, they have different political experiences, they're often from different walks of life, they're from different age groups. And as a result, and I should say you are from all of these things, as a result, the discussion and the debate is rich. And at the end of it, I think what we find is our students create networks. They really stay in touch, and we stay in touch with them too. And our student representative today, Robbie, is a very good example of that. So I think we encourage an understanding of different perspectives. Often people arrive with very strong views, and coming to understand a different perspective at least enables a more in-depth perspective so that people can retain their strong views, but they have to have a foundation. And often we find that the strength of their views become tempered because it becomes clear they're part of a larger process. We very much focus and offer small group workshops so that those who are arriving at our classes that maybe haven't done a whole lot of academic writing until they arrive, or those that have had a long period of time between having studied and now are back, can have some good academic exercise and experience. And also for those that want to start really thinking about working on more advanced writing. So we have writing workshops. They are directly linked to the assessment, so we can give you feedback before you're marked the next time around, and so that you yourself can give us feedback as to what you need. It's very personalized. The workshops are small, and I think people can make real strides in becoming more in control of their topic. We also help very much in giving guidance as to how to do research, particularly in the areas you are interested in. It's no fun doing a lot of research in areas you're not interested in. So we really encourage you to pursue your interests. And then we give you guidance as well as how to read pieces so that they help your own writing. So we offer set readings as well as other readings that we encourage you to pursue, but that are academic, not just media, not just think tanks reports, but things that are really often the actual speeches or the thinking by writers in the academic field that have been, doing their own field work and who have really had a chance to think about this. But it's not all just what people have already written. The incredibly exciting element of this course is that it's happening every day out there. And so we bring this in all the time. Things may have made a lot of sense until X happened. And so we want to bring in X and discuss it. How is it possible that this is happening? How do you understand this? Is it happening in your country? Do you understand this, or do other people that you're with understand this? Are we all only looking at it from the outside, like into a fishbowl? So we really try to look at what the impacts are and what the trend lines are, but also what's really happening out there now. And that's what makes it really fun. So every seminar is different. Every live discussion and debate is different because a lot of it has to do with what's been in the news just since we last got together. So again, if you have any questions, please raise your hand or just speak out because I can't see all of you. And we encourage that. That's very much how the courses run, and that's how I'd like this to run too. So please let me know if you've got questions. On to the next slide. So, what is it like to study on these courses? Each term for all of them, you'll be receiving very selected texts. We try to do a good reading for every topic, and in this course, there are a lot of topics. We have 5 to 10, the courses are broken down into units, and for each unit, we have 5 to 6 pre-recorded lectures, as well as a live lecture that's offered every at the beginning of each unit so that we can, discuss and you can get a sense of what a real lecture live is like online. And then the lectures are designed for you to watch in your own time. We post them uh, in sufficient time for you to be able to watch them, devise your own questions, see if what parts you engaged with. And then we have seminars on each one of the topics that the lectures are on so that you can hear the debates, you can get involved, you can get into a problem-solving mode and really sort of delve deep in with your fellow students, often who come up with very surprising comments and which we will therefore, work through. Um, we then have assignments, assessments for every single unit, and those are offered in a variety of different modes. So we do have essays that are part of every unit, but in addition, we'll have article comparisons so that you can see how two different academics might address the same topic, often very differently. We also do presentations so that you can yourself present. This is something particularly important in international development, but equally for international relations. So we have, PowerPoints, and then people give their reaction to that. So we try to offer different ways. We also have a blog assignment, so you can sort of try out writing in a more sort of media-like way rather than the academic writing and tone. So we really try to stretch you, and it stretches us. And so that way we have different kinds of input, different types of discussions, and it comes from the assignments. I would like to think that there are a number of benefits. I certainly ran out of ways to put different space to put them on here. So sorry that it gets all squashed up at the bottom, but I could have gone on and on. So first of all, very flexible delivery. We try to enable you to study on your own schedule. This was brought up in the introductory comments. Everybody has different demands on their time. So if you've got a family, or if you've got work, or if you've got travel, uh, all of these are accommodated in the type of way we try to put together these courses. We really focus on class discussion. This to us is very much the Cambridge way. Seminars and uh, supervisions in a way of small groups is what we have honed over the many decades at Cambridge, and we take them seriously. So we really encourage class discussion. And particularly if colleagues are international, often the way that they present is different. So it gives us an opportunity to hear how other people might present something and think something through. Um, Another huge benefit is that you have, a lot of access to Cambridge University resources. So the library is open right on our virtual learning environment, which is the online mechanism by which you access everything if you're on a course. The resources are immediately there for you to access, but they are from the University of Library, so you can always access more actual resources. Or if you happen to be living nearby or make a trip to Cambridge, you can actually go to the library as well. You can access the career services. When you graduate, you are a graduate of the University of Cambridge with a Cambridge University certificate or diploma or advanced diploma. And as a result, you can go to the career services, and they can help you find different job opportunities or ideas for changing or shifting or expanding or capitalizing on the career that you're in. We also have, importantly, full access to the Accessibility and Disability Resource Center. So if you have any trouble actually um, following a course or getting the assignments done on time or any other element of taking these courses, this center is there to help you on a very personalized and a very private way. This is something that you would be able to access without anyone else being made aware. So it's really important. And then once you're part of the university, you can go to university lectures, there are fora, there's concerts, there's all sorts of other activities that if you're on the campus of Cambridge, these are yours to take advantage of. Likewise, I think the very act of taking a course makes you aware that there are other courses available. So you could take courses either in different areas. So you could take them in politics and sociology, you could take them in international business, whatever the different certificates and diplomas are that we offer. But also you can go on a pathway through the ones that we offer. So from a certificate to a diploma, and then from a diploma to the advanced diploma, or even just jump over one of these categories and go on to the next and higher area. You can take the online geopolitics course, which really operates quite differently than the ones that we offer live like this. So it is something that we encourage you to pursue. And then you can move on not only to those courses in our university, but if you are moving or if you want to do a course that's more advanced somewhere else, these are credits that are recognized elsewhere. So I think I've covered some of these benefits. If there's others you'd like me to discuss, I would be happy to. Um, and so now let's open it up to Q&A. But first, I want to welcome one of our wonderful students, Robbie. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry I misspelled your name. It's Robbie. He will tell you what his experience is. He has taken several of our courses, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And I also personally remember him telling me that when he joined our first course, his first course with us, he was sort of disillusioned with academia. So, Robbie, I'd love you to go into that because I think we helped you see a different side.
Yeah,
So over to you.
uh,
Thank you so much.
very helpfully. Thank you. Wonderful presentation. I think it's covered so much of it. All I'm going to tell people here, really, to put it in a very simple way, is that when Roxanne says all these things about the course being interactive, when Roxanne says the course will build you friendships, when she says these things, this isn't a spin and it's not a sales technique. This is actually the reality of what happens at ICE. And I think people don't necessarily think that that's going to happen, but you really do build lifelong friendships and connections. And when you log into these seminars, you will encounter people from countries across the world. That's one of the questions we have in the chat is about live seminars being compulsory. All the seminars are also recorded. We had people joining us from India. We had people joining us from Singapore. And these people couldn't necessarily attend all of them, but they would make their hardest to attend the ones during the day that they could attend. And what you would see is people actually joining the student forum to have that discussion out of hours. People were actually continuing the discussion on. Personally, I actually entered a WhatsApp group with many of the members of my course so we could have that continued academic discussion constantly during the course and we could constantly share our opinions. And it's brilliant to have a discussion. We have discussions about Boko Haram, we were discussing terrorism with an individual who joined our course from Nigeria, who had a great deal of personal understanding, of regional understanding. This is the sort of network you will build at ICE, is a network of deeply informed individuals from across the world, but also individuals who want to participate, individuals who want to join the course to contribute their understanding of the world. And Roxanne's also right about also not just tempering strong views, but individuals finding views they never necessarily had. Speaking from a perspective of someone who lives in Western Europe, it's very interesting to hear from perspectives of people from India, from South America, from Australasia. You're hearing opinions of people that you would not necessarily hear, and also from entirely different ecosystems in terms of media perspectives. That is incredibly important. And what the experience you will get is you will get full tutor support. You will hear from the most incredible tutors talking about incredible range of topics. They will talk in depth. And more than that, the students will build a community which you will take on beyond Cambridge. And, for many people, there is a celebration and you receive your certificate, if you can, in Cambridge. When I did it for my year for the diploma and again for the advanced diploma, you will meet many of the people who you studied with, and you will end up having so much fun meeting the people in real life. And it genuinely is incredible. People who you will then put a name to a face, and you will build lifelong friendships. That seems like a trite cliche, but I would say to people, genuinely do consider applying to this course because the courses will give you an ice bug. You will want to come back. You will want to study more because of that. And to say as well, the tutors you will get are varied. I've been in classes with Dr. Roxanne. Do not think of the classes as strict or formal or something that you're not welcome to do. There is no such thing as a stupid question, and every perspective is treated and highly valued. So I have to say, I absolutely adore the Institute. It's now obviously changing its name, but I do. I think it's absolutely fabulous. And I would say to everyone, do consider it. It's one of the best courses I've ever done. And I think that it will actually encourage you to look more into the Institute. I'll obviously just say now the Institute also does weekend courses. I went on one of them as well recently. They are also exceptional. You will want to learn more after this course and not just in this area. And that's a great thing. So, to everyone considering it, don't just think that this is a sales pitch. This is a genuine, proven track record of success that also gives you invaluable resources that are beyond things you can just acquire from other courses. And I think that's the real strength of ICE. And I think it's credit to Roxanne and her team that they've managed to build that.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Robbie. And if I then can kick in, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but when Robbie arrived to take the diploma, I think he was a little disillusioned by education
Yeah.
at that point. And he took the course knowing he wanted to be challenged, which we have so many of our students like that, but not really quite sure how and whether he was really committed to international relations or something else. So he took it, and I think a fire was lit. I mean, I think you found that it really
Mhm.
animated you. You got a better handle of your own role and your own sense of being a somebody who really did international relations analysis well. And I think it
Mhm.
made you feel as though you wanted to go on, which he then did, and took the advanced diploma and did his own research into an area of British legal development, which was fascinating. I was lucky enough to be his supervisor. And I think just being able to feel confident to do that was something
Mhm.
he certainly didn't originally
Yeah.
arrive with. And I think that's one of the things we try to tap into is why do you join these? And if you are joining these, let's try to make this super valuable. And each person is different. And I think that's one of the exciting things for us being teachers here. So I've given you here just on this screen how to contact us. Indeed, you are absolutely right, Robbie, to mention that you would come to a weekend course. There's also summer courses. We run those all summer long, and there are a lot of international relations and international development courses that go for those. Those are much shorter, very intense, but also designed very much for a general audience that is interested in the topic. But we believe in keeping the pace going. So this is definitely, these are courses where you come away having learned a lot. And they're, again, from specialists, often from ambassadors who have lived places, and from others that have been in very interesting conflict zones. So I think what we often see is that people get very fired up by going to a summer course or a weekend course, and then will come also to the certificate or anyway the year-long courses. So that they're all sort of integrated and
Mhm.
interlined. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can actually see your questions because Robbie, you just noted that there were some and I couldn't see them. So all right, so let's see um, if I can see your chat. Okay, I just lost all of them. Okay. Um, I am not seeing these like you. I have a different one. Robbie, could you help me out with these?
I'm more than happy to do so. So
Thank
you've
you.
got from, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Aisha Sahil. You say, fantastic curriculum. My background is in humanitarian sector with the British Red Cross. I'd be happy to reach out to colleagues to see if they could support in any way too. And then we've got one
Wait, let's
from now.
start. Do we have lots and lots of questions?
We have a few.
A few.
Yeah.
Okay, then please go
Okay.
ahead, Robbie. Sorry, I
No
didn't mean
worries.
you.
No, no, don't worry. We have Emily Taylor who says, how long would it take to complete all four courses?
Right. So let's start with those two. Sorry, could you mention the first one again? What was the actual question?
The first, well, I'm not sure it was a question. I think it was just a comment saying it was a fantastic curriculum and their background was in the British Red Cross and they'd be happy to
Okay.
reach out to colleagues. The
Okay.
second one was how long, from
How
Emily,
long?
was
Yeah.
how long would it take to complete all four courses?
Okay. So each one of the courses that I've mentioned, the international relations, the international relations certificate, and international development certificate and diploma are a year. So it would take you, if you took all three of those, it would take you 3 years. The international advanced diploma is itself a 2 year course that's divisible.
Mhm.
So you can actually take just 1 year, or you can take the other year, or you can take them sequentially because they offer slightly different things and a different curriculum. I think you took the first year, right, Robbie, of that one?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Which is a slightly shorter writing assignment, but it's also more training. So
Mhm.
each have their own specialty. So each one of those would take 2 years. I mean, 1 year. So together they would take two. But the great thing is you can slice and dice. So you can really take an international development certificate, then you could take a diploma in international relations, and then you could take one of the advanced diplomas. And if you really thought that that was, great, but you wanted to move on, you can then apply for one of the Master of Studies from from the politics department here, for example, or we've had several students that have taken a couple of courses here, then gone on to another institution, taken a different uh, complementary course, if you will, in international relations, and come back for something else here. So we do feel as though people can go across institutions and find that they can take slightly different emphases. So, for example, we offer a general international relations master's and a international relations um, master's in public policy over at Politics and International Relations Department, but we don't offer one in human rights. So that would be something you might find is available at an institution in the United States or elsewhere in Britain, but not with us that specifically looks at international law and human rights. But you'd be well prepared to go on and apply for those because you will have had the academic writing experience. You would have looked at, a whole unit on international law and international institutions and a whole section of a unit on human rights. We would think you'd be well prepared. So thank you for that question. Any other questions, Robbie?
We do, I do. So I've got one. I don't know how to say this, but I'm just going to say it's I-NAW, or sorry, NAU, and it says,
Okay.
are the live seminar lectures compulsory to watch live? If so, how long do they take and what time of the day? Thanks for answering in advance. I don't know if you want me just to briefly say that for
Why don't
the
you
diploma.
answer?
Yeah, yeah. So they are usually about an hour in length and they're spaced out. So there's an hour in between them and they will usually take place over a period of 2 days. So if, for example, for the diploma, it was one weekend where you will attend and then there will be lecture at the live seminars on the Saturday and the Sunday, and there will be an hour or 2 hours in between those. Often you'll find, though, people actually stay in between the hours to have debates with each other, which is actually very useful and very interesting. And the tutor do want to be there to be included in that. You will find that the lectures that you will have are pre-prepared and they will be accessed. You will receive an email about those lectures being put onto the support, and you will receive an email when they're available. And I found they were usually made available 2 weeks before our seminar attendance was required. So I hope that that answers that question. I'll pass on to Roxanne in case she wants to add anything there.
Yeah, thank you, Robbie. That was great. So what we also try to do is knowing that people live all over the world. If we have somebody in Canada, on the West Coast, let's say, and somebody in Russia, or Vietnam, they'll have very, very different time frames that they're up and possibly if they're working, able to listen and be part of a seminar than somebody, for example, in London or in Madrid. So what we try to do is often schedule the same seminar twice. So one will be in the morning and one will be in the evening or late afternoon, so that depending on your time zone, you'll be able to catch one of them. And that's definitely the case for the writing workshops, um,
Hmm.
where we try to schedule two different times separated by several hours so that everybody on the course can actually be part of that, get feedback on their assessments, give us their feedback, that kind of thing. So we try to repeat if necessary, and that way everybody at least feels as though they can adapt their schedule. And as Robbie said, these are over the weekend, and we find generally that is something that the majority of people can find then time during that day, those 2 days. The live lecture tends to be on Friday evenings around 6, and we find that seems to be an overlap period where it's either very quite early in the morning or possibly late in the evening for people on the edges of the globe looking at it from London. But that usually there's some kind of overlap. It's not too early or too late to catch that particular lecture. But as Robbie also said, everything is recorded. So if you do miss something, you just click in and you have a look. But we encourage attendance simply because it gives you the opportunity to hear how other people respond to other people and become part of the debate, which is what we think is critical to part of the learning process.
And just one other brief thing to add in there for everyone, the Cambridge system has a transcription service. So if anyone has issues with auditory issues, there's a live transcription. So that is very relevant in case anyone might want to have that. The other questions are, and these are questions from before the sessions, for the undergraduate certificate in international relations, will the online classes be live or pre-recorded? I think we've covered that one, Roxanne, unless
Yeah.
you if you were
Yep.
dead.
Yep.
Okay. Are students encouraged to conduct independent research on global political issues? The answer there is absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And students do. And what you will find often in your student portal, because you'll obviously have the Cambridge Virtual Learning environment, and in that you will find students often actually post their own research and have academic debates and discussions. We found them, they often went into 25 to 30 comments long in some points, is not in any way people will be rage quitting as you might see on the internet, but people actually having a genuine discussion over different points. So you will find that students do that, and they do actually often share. And class members really value it when other people share with the class because it really builds the perspective. And often people, for example, we had a lovely young woman from Hungary in our class and another lovely young woman from Sweden. They shared perspectives we'd never heard before.
So we have 5 minutes to go. There's still an awful lot that I could cover. What other things are in the
So the other one says, what does the course content cover? And it says,
okay.
does it cover things like climate change, human rights, and security threats?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and yes. And
Yeah, and in quite some depth. Roxanne takes, and you did, I don't know if you still do, Roxanne, you take the one on terrorism and often on security and non-state actor threats. They're very good lectures, and actually they will. One of the best things, I had a discussion with Roxanne over Zoom one time when I was actually studying. We had a great discussion about the term terrorism, and it was a very intellectual discussion, but it was a great discussion to have, and that's the sort of discussion you will be having at the university. And then there's just two other questions I can see at the moment. And the further questions are average class sizes for the course and what are the pros and cons of the area? Is Cambridge really diverse?
okay, so the average class is about 20,
Mm.
and I'll look I'll and it's very diverse. And so it's a an unusual 20 always. Sometimes it's a little less. Occasionally it'll be a little more. If it gets to be a lot more, we'll divide the class and run two separate courses simultaneously. But generally, we have a cap of between 20 and 22. Um, and is Cambridge diverse? The answer is an unmitigated, yes, it is, and I think the diversity is exciting in that once part of the university, what is I think slightly overwhelming is how many opportunities of things to
Mhm.
see. We run more blogs, more commentary. People are very involved, and so if you're actually here, and I'd like to underscore something that Robbie said. We do have an in-person graduation, and I think it's really important. And it's your opportunity, if you haven't been to Cambridge, to actually spend a couple of days and really get to see it. And walking around it is fantastic. It's an
Mhm.
education, but a beautiful one on its own. And I think just the sense of history that's here and the number of different people that have actually contributed to this university and made it what it is comes alive. And you suddenly realize that you are part of this. You too are contributing to it. So it is one of the, I think, it deserves the reputation it has. And I think it's a wonderful element that we
Mhm.
offer opportunity for students to sign in that may not have had any background and to realize they have trust in themselves. We encourage that, and that you too can become a Cambridge student. So I thoroughly encourage any of you who have already started an application, make a go of it. Come join
Yeah.
us. We'd love to have you. And for those who haven't, I really recommend that you look at all the diversity of topics that we cover, and then look at your newspaper, and we'll cover those too. And then come join us next year. We'd love to have
Yeah.
you.
And courses will actually change based on events. So events happened in Russia and Ukraine in my year, and that literally changed, and the course was updated as that. But just on the diversity point, in my year there were 24 people taking the diploma from 17 countries. I hope that gives you an idea of the sort of diversity on the course.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much, Robbie. You've been the best, and thanks all of you. And I think if you go and leave the breakout room now and go back to the main screen, there will be a final film for you. So thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Robbie.
Thank you. Thanks all.